I invited also a couple of friends,
it's great.
members from Vulca, like Axel, which is here. Leon is also joining. Maybe a couple of other guys will probably come. Let's see. Just send a message here and there.
And where are you right now?
I'm in France. I just came back from Slovenia. I was with Leon and Axel that are there also. And we've been for a week in Slovenia for the 6th edition of the Vulca seminar, which is the yearly gathering of the makers and fab labs that we met on the road. Long story short.
Hope to get there next year.
Germany, 21st to 24th November, next to Nuremberg. The city is called Erlangen, and Axel is the best guy to talk about it, basically, because this is his makerspace.
Oh, it's great. So, Axel from Germany, correct?
That's it, exactly. From Europe, basically. So French and German. And
okay.
The last 1.5 years, I took a lot of time to visit a lot of maker spaces, and yes.
It's great. So November next year, end of November next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
great.
It's on the Vulca website. If you look for the seminar 2024, there you should find all the information.
I'll just put it in the chat. Axel, you can also put your Christmas website. It's also quite cool. Okay, so when do you want to start? How do you want to organize this moment together?
I want to ask you to introduce yourself for people who don't know what are you doing. Last years, and then we have some questions on your activities and maybe your conclusions, ideas on the spaces you visit.
Okay, perfect. So let me just switch this to pass my headphone. Yes, perfect. Maybe I will quickly introduce my colleagues Leon and Axel. So Axel is from Germany. I proposed Axel to come to this call because he's one of the Vulca explorer, which means he explored makerspace quite a lot this past 1 to 2 years. Feel free to add something, maybe Axel. You want to introduce yourself a bit more, something? No, it's fine.
Well, I think I mentioned already that I visited a lot of makerspaces, and therefore even the German association declared me as a diplomat, more or less. So I think I fit quite well here about different projects around Europe and different makerspaces, and how to combine the two with the best resources. So I like to support you as a little agency for different exchanges, for example, and new fields to try things out, and happy to be here. Thank you.
So Axel is important because he took 1 year, one sabbatic year last year, and he took this opportunity to travel in Europe and especially to visit makerspace and fab labs. So I helped him with Vulca to open up the doors of as much as possible makerspace and fab labs in Europe. On the side, we have Leon. Leon that deeply benefited of the travel of Axel or me, for instance, but there is some other explorer, because we consider Leon more like makers in residency. Would you like, Leon, maybe just to quickly introduce yourself and to tell us where you went in a residency and also where you plan to go?
Yes, hi everyone. So I've made the Vulca Maker tour and I went to Denmark for like 3 months, Skanderborg. And then maybe next year I'm gonna be doing. I will be going to Italy, Ispra next year, and then maybe to Copenhagen also, like to make another maker residency. Yes, I see the camera is.
So here is a good example of what I will introduce you now. Can you give me the possibility to share my screen, please? Because the most important for us is to understand the methodology. We try to approach this bottom-up approach that allow us then to work on this makers in residency topic, which is quite important for us.
Okay, making your host. Just a second. Yeah.
Yeah. There should be fine. Okay. Yeah. So I will give you this short presentation, which will take 5 minutes, but give you quite a big overview of what is Vulca today. Everything started when we were Erasmus. So I was one of this Erasmus on this picture. We've been in Ireland, and it was the best experience of our life. Moving from France, Czech Republic, Poland, Spain to go to Ireland for the first time of our life, studying international relation and business, whatever. But on the side, we met a maker club, like a makerspace, Fab Labs, whatever. And we spent quite a lot of time in this makerspace. And we got this idea, if Erasmus exists to exchange students between university, we should support a new idea in Europe today to exchange makers in between makerspace. So you get the global vision of the topic. One more thing, in 2014, European Commission developed a new program, but more for the cultural sector and the artists in general, which is Creative Europe, which supports not only, but support artists in residency. I guess everyone here already heard about what is an artist in residency. A German artist go to France in a museum for a couple of weeks to realize an exhibition. This is an artist in residency, one example. So we figure out that a student can be in residency in a university. I mean, be in residency, they can go to study somewhere else. An artist can be supported to go to realize an exhibition or work in another country. This is called Creative Europe. So we asked ourselves, how can we inspire Europe tomorrow? Not only the European Commission, but also potential partners, such as a private company, the mayor of a municipality, some foundations, to consider that it's important for the future of Europe to help makers to share their skills and knowledge, not only in their makerspace, but in another makerspace, in another country. So it goes further than only educating. It goes further than only culture and language. It's deeply sharing skills and knowledge in different areas in Europe that we unfortunately don't have. Here, for instance, I'm from a small village. We know quite well how to weld and woodworks, but we have no clue, idea how to develop in Python or things like this. This is why I need to host some checks, for instance, to help us to get better on that topic. This is just an example. So this is the idea we try to support. How to support as much as possible the wish of the makers to go abroad in a makerspace, and how to support as much as possible a makerspace to host makers in residency. So back to this, we started to go on the road because we were unknown by the community and also by the different partners. So from 2015 to basically now, we decided to travel in Europe and to go from place to place to visit makerspace and to meet the communities. So we realized basically 3 key actions that I will quickly introduce you after. The Vulca tours that help us to get in touch with the local communities. The Vulca seminar that allow us to bring those communities to meet each other. And then the residency that we try to help as we can. So we were mentioning the tools. Here are a couple of examples of us. Remy, which is not here, but Axel is a good example of an explorer. This is those that basically decided to spend time on the road, by car, by train, by bike, as they want, but to go every time as much as possible in a period of time, in the period of their life, to visit Fab Labs and a makerspace, but also to sleep to your home, which is very important for us because there's personal relation, there's personal connection that we can share for at least one day and one evening around the table and the soup or whatever. This is very important for us. And this is what we support the most. This is the roots of Vulca. So these pictures are some pictures that we realized on the road, that we met these different communities. And then this is more or less, I think we reach more than 500 now. We have a meeting next week to count exactly how many visits we did so far. But I think we reach more than 500, maybe 600 now. we covered all Europe, including also Ukraine. I personally have been in Ukraine to visit a couple of makerspace. It was in 2017, if my memory is good. It was in September, October, something like this, 2017. But never mind. The most important thing is when you go on our website and you see more or less this map, which the shape changed a bit, you can be sure that one of us been on site and we met personally the local community for at least and the minimum a coffee. This is really the minimum, but for most of them, we spend 24 hours. Then back to the second key action of Vulca, we try to invite those that we met on the road to meet once a year in different countries. So here is just some example, 2017, 18, 19. This year was in Slovenia. The first year was in France, then Poland. Next year, we're going to be in Germany, but we try every November to invite the community to meet and to get in touch with. So that was last year. And then we developed Maker Tour. So Maker Tour platform is our map a little bit better developed, let's say, where we document makerspace and Fab Labs, but also we highlight the residency that exists. So Maker Tour looks like this with a lot of dots, which means each of these dots already realized once a residency. So they realized at least once a residency, which means they already hosted a makerspace, a makers in residency. But then if you go in the filter, in the left side of the makerspace and you put residency, basically you can see this ongoing or future residency that are open to host makers in residency. I already know that the first question you're going to ask is how they finance their residency or how looks a residency, and I have no idea about this, except to tell you that each of them are super different. And I think Leon, it's a good example because he went to Denmark in residency for 3 months, and his residency is very, very different than the next one he's gonna live in Italy next month. So every residency will always be different. From the couch surfing approach, you're gonna sleep in a sofa of the founders of the makerspace and doing some random project, to a full paid residency. And this is also what makes this topic like magical at some point, because it fits at every needs. So yeah, the residency key, and yeah, when you click on the map, you can then see that Rock Center is hosting a residence, and then you get into the page and you get more information, blah, 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 blah. I will not go much into details, but always we have the same approach. And Maker Tour platform, you always find in these filters the key information for the residency. We pretty much know that you will never apply for a residency just because you see a web page, at least when it comes from Vulca. But you will see from this catalog that I showed you just before, this kind of catalog. Let's imagine it's a different page, and you click on this different page, and you see the different opportunities. That maybe one of them will suit for you, and you will most probably get this information on that page and contact us there. And you will say, hey, Axel, hey, Leon, hey, Vulca in general. I seen on your web page, on your platform, that there is this 2 residencies that are interesting for me. Do you think this residency fit for me? And this is how then we can help you to basically better choose your residency. This is quickly an overview of last year, different residency that we organized. Not organized, but we supported. And yeah, I think I will stop to talk here. You got a big picture of what we are doing. Our main topic is this one, but also from now, the last Vulca seminar, we have another responsibility, which is to help the French association, to help the German associations, so Verbund Offenwerkstätten in Germany, French Fab Labs and Makerspace networks in France, the Portugal networks in Portugal, Crefab in Spain, to help the Nordic Makerspace networks to get closer together. And we are basically animating more and more the national networks of Makerspace and Fab Labs to get along together, I would say. So now we have this new responsibility since the last Vulca seminar to support all kinds of residency in Europe when it comes to Makerspace and makers, and then to support every cooperation possible and to animate national Makerspace networks to get closer together. I think I'm done with the big picture. Leon, Axel, and I are open to any question you have.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yuri?
Yeah, Andy, sure, yeah, please.
Okay, so I am in Kyiv, and there are a couple people in this chat from Kyiv. My first question to you guys is how exactly can we move forward with collaboration between Ukrainian association and other European associations?
So you mean cooperation? Which kind of cooperation? This is a big word that we listen every day, I would say. So the cooperation is based on what?
Well, it's a good question. And I think because you guys have more experience, I would imagine that by now you would have some categories of possible cooperation between national associations. Do you have some categories of that kind?
No, it gives me another question. Maybe Yuri has the answer, but is there any associations that bring together Ukrainian maker space or not so far? I mean,
that is Yuri's
association? There is Yuri's associations.
No, we just started to work on Ukrainian Maker Association, and this is also the reason we wanted to talk to you and ask about the possible collaboration and how you operate this between Nordic or Portugal and French and other countries and German Werkstätten and other type of association. I think it could go first of all about Maker Tour or exchange program, a kind of.
Yes, and I have a specific thing also, like it was a general thing, yes, and a specific thing. So last week, one of the members of this Zoom, he introduced us to a maker, and that maker makes cargo bikes, and that person already managed to sell 13 bikes to different countries in Europe. And we are looking to help this person to scale. And the question is this the kind of project that we can somehow collaborate on?
And who was this maker about the cargo bike? Because Axel is quite well aware about this kind of community of
Till Wolfer from Hamburg, right?
So this is Danilo or Daniel. His brand of cargo bikes is called Brave Bikes. He is based in Kyiv area in Ukraine. But I ask you this question maybe not to promote this specific brand. I just use it as an example of a maker from Ukraine who already has some success, who is connected to our association and to several maker spaces in Ukraine, but this person is not sure how to move forward, and maybe you guys have some knowledge and wisdom to help us understand how to move forward with this kind of situations. Thank you.
Okay, so for this, I don't have clear idea, but for, how can I say? Do you have somewhere we regularly communicate? Which kind of communication tools do you use, Yuri, in your community? Imagine that you have this kind of networks, from what I understand, which is Maker Hub Ukraine. This is the umbrella.
Ukrainian Maker Association. We started from a signal chat, but now it could divide to branches because we have people from different areas, from education area, from manufacturing area, from people from academia, and different types. So now we are in Signal, and I could spread messages or opportunities from Vulca and other partners.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is to try to find maybe the couple of us that speak and talk Ukrainian, to basically invite them to your communication channel. How does it work, for instance, between France and Germany? Andy, we have Axel and I that are involving every day in the communication tools of their community. So we easily get information and we pop up to say, oh, you look for, okay, last example a couple of weeks ago. In France, Fab Manager pop up in the Mattermost. This is what the French Makerspace network use, Mattermost, I guess you know. I have very good makers in the community. She is into digital fabrication and she has to find a placement for 6 months. She can do it in France, but she would love to do these placements in an association or in a company, whatever, in Europe, if possible in a makerspace, because she feel good in the makers movement. I got this information. There is no application, nothing, nowhere. From that moment, I contact Axel, which is based in Germany. But also, I know that he traveled quite a lot in Germany, and his networks in Germany is well established. He published the information in the communication tools in German, of course, in German, in the community. And now he's in process to select 2 or 3 potential makerspace where these students will become an assistant of a Fab Manager for 6 months next year. This is an example of how spontaneously we pop up with solutions when a request comes. So at some point, there is the category, as you liked to say, over your question in the Maker Tour. Yes, there is, let's say, 10 potential makers in residency option and opportunity right now. But there is also a big part of spontaneous discussion that we have, especially because we are involving in different Signal group, WhatsApp groups, Mattermost, Slacks, and Vulca try to be as much as possible resilience of the communication tools you used, and also based on our personal culture and language, because the Greek basically doesn't talk together with the same alphabet that the French, for instance. So right. we try to integrate, and if you want to, of course, one of us that we met on the road that could basically be close enough to us, which are in between different national networks, and understand what everyone is doing, but also to follow up the different activities you have at the national levels. So that was my question, was first to Yuri, to understand if you already have somewhere where you tend to discuss together, and if from that communication tools you have, we could invite someone from our side that could be the bridge between countries. So that's one of the first things. The second things would be so that's the first things to do, to find a key person to put in communication tools. Then, based on the different discussion, to try next year to send some Ukrainian, I guess this is more easy right now in that direction, to Europe. So to find some Ukrainian, to leave Ukraine, to go to Europe, to do some residency. But for this, we need to get information. This is why we need to get into the communication tools. And then a bit later, the place to go to meet the other national network, the Swiss one, the Nordic one, the French one, the German one, and so on, it's most probably to go to Germany between 21st to 24th November for this next Vulca European seminar. At that moment, you could have a private discussions with the board members of these national networks, but also the employees. Some of them already passed that step, that they have employees, some other not yet, but they are in process. And then with them, you can also talk about the governance. And this is one of the biggest questions we see them discussing with each other. One of the things you said a minute ago was it's the associations of Yuri. Yes, because he's the face of this dynamic, I guess. It's a bit like me in Vulca, but we try to fight to distribute tasks. And I think this is the same for Yuri. I mean, I know Yuri a bit, probably not enough, but I can deeply feel that he would love you guys to take part of the associations and to take the responsibility and, you know, to strengthen this organization as much as you can, and not to be only the face. So this is why I also invited Axel, Leon, and a couple of other friends, because we also try with Vulca to not personalize Vulca. We try to get out from Vulca is only Alex. It's still this. But what is very great with the national networks, especially in Germany and French, I ask you, can you tell me who is the key person of the French makerspace networks? Can you tell me who is the key person of the Verbund Werkstätten? No, because they have an amazing governance, distributing task, responsibility, and it takes them like more than 10 years to reach that point. And this is such a discussion you could have. So there is two things that we can deeply work together, which is this exchange of makers. I mean, not really exchange, but to try to find some opportunities in Europe where Ukrainian makers could come. But for this, we need to get informations and then to work on the governance and how to better build and how to better structures the national associations or foundations. I don't know exactly which kind of statute you have in Ukraine. And this has to be discussed with these national networks.
Thank you, Alex.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah, Alex, thank you for an explanation. I want to get back to kind of bird's eye view because Andy asked a specific question. And could you please tell us what types of maker spaces have you visited? What kind of, and why there is so many hack space in UK and so many Fab Labs in France? And okay, what is the difference? Yeah,
Axel, this is for you, this one. Oh, you left? He left? Wait. Axel? Okay, I will go.
Oui, j'arrive. Attends, je voulais brancher mon portable.
They speak English, Axel?
Yes, here I am. So, it's a bit a complicated political question. So in France, it's become much more official that every library is supposed to have a makerspace or a Fab Lab in that sense. So 3D printer to share the knowledge, to share design, and things like that. And in these cases, it's often in a constellation where there are employees in certain opening hours, while hacker spaces usually are clubs of different members that are open the whole night, and during the day nobody is there. So it's a bit another constellation if it's a public space or if it's a private community space. But often it's about similar ideas to share knowledge, to try things out, to exchange, and just in a different setup. One thing I was missing here was basically the presentation of your side, because as Alex mentions, there are a lot of opportunities we could give some tips on. It's what Alex mentioned, the different internships or volunteering work. If people are on the education side and are looking for the job they want to make in the future. In other situations, sometimes it's as well about sharing resources and to fill the void of needs and things like that. So if you're talking about a makerspace in a war zone or after the war, what I think about is especially how to reconstruct infrastructure in different points like that, and how to deploy it in a manner that everyone can contribute, everyone can take something in their hand. So I'm a bit lost what you are looking for right now. So could we get a little hint on that?
I can maybe just continue with this. Like I see the question here, which is about the difference between the Nordic, Slavic, and so on. So in the Nordic networks, they got quite a lot of support from the different ministry. We tend to basically meet public makerspace. Most of them are public makerspace. Based in library, a lot in a library, but also in university. And some of them are supported and hosted by the municipality. I only know one makerspace, which is an association in Denmark, to give you an idea. All of them are either public funded, most of them, or some of them are a company. Also, what is interesting in these Nordic networks is they really consider it's like an extension of the library. It's a public service. So at the political level, and this is what Axel mentioned pretty well, they manage, I don't know how exactly, we need to discuss with researcher, I guess, but they managed to put in the heads of the political parties that a makerspace is a new room of a city. Like the church you go to pray or to bury someone, the municipality you go to do your paperwork, and the school you go to study, or the library you go to get a book. Long story. This is public services. I mean, the church is not a public services, but you get it. It's an important place of a city where you have these things, and it has to be here. In the Nordic network, basically, most of the cities, when it comes to have like a big cities, they have this place now, and it's supported by the states and the different layers of government. Also, what is interesting, it's in most of these Fab Labs that we're gonna visit, there is few Fab managers, several Fab managers. It's not only one, except a couple of them, of course, there is always an exception, but there is several of them. It's like when you go to the library again, there is most probably in Kiev library, not only one person that is at the desk. There is one person at the desk, one person which lead the administration, one person that lead the go and go back of the book, and so on. So they really consider it's a public services. Then when you go more into the Latin country, let's say France, especially the one I know the most, Spain a bit, it's more the social approach, I would say. Again, it's not only, but in kind of general, it's more a social approach. Between 2000, before the COVID, it was already like kind of a social approach, and getting some support from the different governments. And I see there is another question. Makers Walala. What does mean makers Walala? Well, never mind. And then in Germany, Axel, it's quite more grassroots. It's not only about Fab Labs, but it's more about open workshops. And also we figure out that everything is like you know what I mean by trendy? When something is trendy, like you can easily sell something because you surf on the moves of a name. This is what I saw in France. Fab Labs were very famous as a Fab Lab name at a period when the co-working become old school. So 2010 to 2015 was the co-working and living labs, got a lot of support. Then 2015 to 2020, long story short, become the Fab Lab. It was trendy, very famous. And then we move after the COVID, where we call it third place. And also we got a lot of support when we are third place. I will not get into details, but at the end, we also see the national networks are not Fab Lab only, are not Fab Lab anymore. The good example is the French Fab Labs networks. In 2019, they decided to change the name. It was French Fab Labs Network from 2013 to 2019, and then they changed the name. It's the French Fab Lab Networks and Space of Making. So it's more general. And what completely changed for the French, it's from that moment, and they started to communicate on that, they attracted much more makerspace, mechanical garage, mechanics garage, or bike repair open workshops, hackerspace, makerspace, open workshops, and so on. In the Nordic countries, they are still the Fab Lab Nordics, and they only have Fab Labs. And this is a big discussion in the Fab Lab Nordics. They still disagree with each other if they should let in open workshops. So this is under discussion right now. And in Germany, it's open workshops. So if you make something, you can be part of the association. Or if you host Repair Café, you are really welcome to join the dynamic of the associations, which now the French is considering to open up a new kind of membership for the Repair Coffee associations, because we are super close to each other. Then there is no big dynamic at the national level in Italy. There is no national networks. It crashed down in Ireland. mean, what we can say today, it's those national networks that starting with European grants or any big grants just fall apart. They got a big boost at the beginning, but when the money is not here anymore, the dynamic doesn't survive. And this is what happened in Ireland. This is what happened more or less in UK. And then, yeah, the network is not here anymore. So community first.
So from your perspective, and for people who are listening, who are eager to start their own makerspace or Fab Lab, what was the problem when Ireland or Italy Fab Labs and makerspaces got the money and then they just not here? What was the key problem? Could you please unfold
the lack
or
of community.
explain this community first to this? Yeah.
I mean, it's always the same point. It's the lack of the community. If you don't have a feeling of belonging with your community, there is no one anymore to support when problems will happen. I would like to give the chance to Leon, if Leon, you are still there, maybe to explain a little bit more your approach with gaming, because this works quite well. Are you here, Leon, or not?
Yep. Can you hear
So
me?
I'd like to explain, yeah, we hear you well. I would like you to explain what you bring to the French Fab Labs members by telling them that game is important in a maker space, and to explain a bit more these do-it-yourself games, escape games, and all of these games around the maker space.
Yeah, sure. So I started in Mulhouse when I was the Fab manager. It was a convenient way to broaden the public we got, because we just realized that we got the same public going to the space, and we wanted to open it a little bit more to families and different kinds of non-technical people to get in the lab. And so the board game nights was a very nice way to get those people, to get them across the door. Because otherwise, if you just say we're going to do welding or we're going to do Arduino programming and stuff like that, then you get only a certain type of people who already likes programming and welding and so on. So the idea was to make games, to make the community, to make a gathering of the community in the lab, and then they see that they can do some stuff with the laser cutter or with 3D printer, and then they will come back after. And we also have some Saturday project where we make a big project. For example, we make an arcade machine with the CNC, and the same idea is the people try the machine and they have they're kind of mentoring so that they learn how to use the machine, and then when they learn to use the machine on the big project, then they can do their own small project, and it kind of starts it allows them to go to the lab and then start being autonomous. That was the idea. Yeah, and Alex is showing that's one is made by Navid, which is a Belgian maker, a maker for Belgium, and he make a small escape box that when you play the box, you understand how the Fab Lab works. So you have different phases, and one is for the safety, and just connect wires. It show you a LED, and then if you go to phase 2, then you have another riddle, and then solving the riddle, you understand how the machine works in the lab. So it's a really convenient way. If you have people that are non-technical and have never been to a lab, to make them play, and then they will understand the working and the process, because each phase make some 3D printing, some CNC, so you can show also at the same time how it works. And it's really working well because a lot of people like playing games, so it's a nice way to get the people to the lab and start doing their projects.
So we know it's complicated to keep active a community in a maker space because most of the people are afraid of learning technology, but the game we figure out is something that we regularly meet on the road, from building a board games, chess board games, super simple, where people can get around together, up to building a soccer table or a ping pong table where they can get together, get along together, have fun together, and also start to think project together. And when it comes to your question, when the funding is not here anymore, yes, but if you have a group of friends that are here and spend good time together and are willing to spend time in this city, in this street, or in this rural area, there is much more chance that they're gonna be here when the hard time gonna comes.
Or maybe there is another option for somebody who has business experience to come up with a way to self-sustain it.
Sorry? To the business model.
Yes, so to make it self-sustainable, to find some business models that can support this space.
There is no business model for a makerspace so far. Every of this makerspace and Fab Lab has, I mean, I see Yuri, you laugh, but I guess you already know it. It's probably, but as much as many as makerspace you're gonna meet, as many of different economic model you're gonna meet also. Maybe it's a bit different with the public funding, but I'm on because they are publicly funded. But when it comes to having a makerspace, has a company makerspace, an association makerspace, a foundation makerspace, sometimes a collective makerspace willing to become more structured, the economic model is always tricky and has to find his place in the city. So there is no big tips and tricks about this from what I see. So you can basically make stuff and sell them on Etsy. Yeah, go for it. This is, if it's really what you want to do, you can go for it. I'm talking about Etsy because I approached the French Fab Lab Networks a couple of days ago for a partnership. So I still don't know exactly what they want. It's just an open discussion right now. But they have a platform, they want to sell stuff, they see makers can make stuff and go on the platform. So, but again, I don't think there is much more value of having a strong community supporting your club than having any big funding ones. But I understand what you mean. The regular one, at least to pay the charge, it's the objective, yes. But membership, I mean, to me, if you have a strong community and they pay their membership, it pay the charge and you pass every month. And this is also why most of the hackerspace, and again, not all of them, but most of the hackerspace we visited so far has only as economic model the membership of their community. They have a strong feeling of belonging of the space and the political vision of the hackerspace most of the time. And more members they have, I'm not talking about hundreds, but takes only 50 members that give each by month, I'm talking in euro, so let's say 30 euro, and you get enough to pay the charge. And you keep relaxed on this. Every project you do on the side is a bonus. This is where we see a difference with the Fab Lab and the makerspace, I would say, and I give you the talk, Axel, just after, I just saw it. While they take the makerspace and the Fab Labs more like a business, and the hackerspace take the place more like a social space where you feel good, you feel belonging, and everyone is willing to put 30 euro a month or 15 euro a month, which pay the charge, so you can still be here the month after. While in the Fab Lab or the makerspace, they will basically say, oh, you don't have time. It's okay. Let me do it for you and I charge you for that. Okay, the guys is super happy. You do the job on the machine, but zero feeling of belonging. The most important keyword of this conference is the feeling of belonging. I think so. And it's for Vulca also. Why there is people behind Vulca? Because we developed this strong feeling of belonging, to spend time together, to be together, to meet again together. So it's really important, and it takes years. It took us 10 years. So when someone arrives in a space and asks you to do the laser cutting job, and you do it, and the person pay you, zero feeling of belonging, but you get 10 euro. Not sure you're gonna get this 10 euro next month because this person already got the project done. In a hackerspace, they refuse most of the time. Again, it's not every time, but most of the time they refuse to do service, but they work especially with people that are willing to develop the feeling of belonging. And if they develop this feeling of belonging, they plan to be here next month and to be here again next month and to be here again next month. So it's again 10 or 15 euro every month. At least, again, I'm talking just to pay the charge. I'm not talking to buy the Trotec machine in US. I'm basically talking about the basic. Axel, sorry, I was maybe too long.
No problem. With commercial makerspaces, I must say we do have individual candidates that go in different directions. The Happy Lab in Vienna or Berlin, for example, they are purely commercial, but as an effect, they have a certain age gap, if you ask me, as especially for young people, it's not that intuitive to get a subscription there to get access and to be fixed on these opening hours. And in other cases, if it's just a friends group sharing their tools, it's not appreciated. If anyone would like to use it as a commercial workshop and to come every week to build something and sell it afterwards, it's exclusively for community purposes. So I'm still a bit missing what you're looking for. Are you just are we here to find the orientation, or do we have already certain needs that would need to be tackled?
Okay, there's not so many maker and hacker spaces and fab labs in Ukraine. We have up to 20, and some of them are already closed. So but there is a strong interest in communities to use makerspace as a tool for the community, and it is my next question. As Axel already mentioned, we have a lot of things to rebuild. We'll have a lot of refugees or temporary displaced person, and a lot of them in small cities and small villages. So my next question to you guys was, what is the models of these spaces in really small villages? Who supports them, and what are the benefits for community you studied or find it out when you visited there?
The model, we talk about model like economic model, management model?
In general, we don't have any maker spaces in Ukraine really in small cities or villages. If you, we don't have. So if you visited something like this,
yes,
yeah, could you please describe their model? And
I can go for it.
Okay.
Do you know them? But maybe they are not active anymore. But Creative Rural Hub, is it something that?
Oh, it's yeah, it's Michael. Yeah, we in contact with him. Yeah.
So this is a group of guys from Ukraine that worked in London for some time, and they have this space in Ukraine in Carpat Mountain, somewhere there. And yeah, this is documented on a maker tour, so they are there. This is the only one I know personally in Ukraine that kind of looks like a makerspace, I would say, where they are open to have local citizens, but also internationals, to come and to make stuff together. I'm not getting into deep discussion about the economic model and so on, but this is the Ukrainian rural makerspace I could mention if you ask. Then in Europe, there is plenty of rural makerspace. But the question is, I'm not sure to get it, because the big challenge in a rural makerspace is about the people. Because when you live in a village of 500 inhabitants, there is not 500 makers. That everybody is a maker, but not 500 people interested about the makerspace. If the question goes more that direction, or I'm not sure to understand exactly what you want to target.
Yeah, there is small cities where came a lot of people from other regions running from war, and the communities asking us and reaching us and ask if they could open the makerspace. So I wanted to learn from your experience when you visited these rural makerspaces. What kind of models, and what is the story behind the appearance or behind the space, how they evolve, and who running it, and who funded it, what kind of model they use?
some of this rural makerspace has the chance to have a very low cost of real estate. Do you understand what I mean? Which give them a big advantage. I don't know if it's the case for you, but in opposite to the big cities, the price of a barn, a garage, even a house is a big advantage. And most of the time, not every time again, but we met makers that basically the space belonged to them. You should start to ask them this, if this is the case for those that would like to open a makerspace in a rural area, because the real estate, it's very low, the price of this. And this gives them a big advantage because they don't depend to any political changes or any shortcut in a subsidies or sponsoring or whatever. My personal experience here, I'm a farmer. I come from a farm. I spent 20 years of my life in a farm, and I basically got the chance to buy a barn next to the farm of my family in 2018. And so I basically put my money on that in perspective to renovate the barn and to host a makerspace in the village. So it gives us the freedom to have our space where the youth can come to play ping pong and a soccer table the first year, to start to make projects together with the first machine that we got based on donations. I mean, everybody can get a donation if you do something by heart. This is not something new. So but I'm not the only one. I can talk about Bueno in Portugal. We can talk about Werksteobahnhof in Germany and so on. This is these guys that take over a place. Either they buy it or they get it as a donations, and they decide to open a social space, which has a big color of makerspace behind. Of course, it's pretty clear from the beginning, but they start from something quite social to create links between people and trying to support things that they like to do together. It can be board games, it can be discussions, it can be sharing a coffee or whatever. But then after the second or the third year, we can see that this space start to really make stuff. And also they get donation in between. Here, after the third year of our makerspace, which is still under construction, we got plenty of donations. Plenty of donations from company that stopped because the carpenter got too old, so he stopped his company. From the school, from different organizations. When I mean plenty, it's not like every day. It's twice a year. We have someone that say, you know what, take this machine. It's cool. What you do, I support. This is for you. So in a rural area, they have a big advantage if they can get basically their own space. And also it killed the question of Andy. That was a big question, the economic model. Here in my makerspace, there is no economic model. We bought this field, this place. It's like rural hub in Carpat Mountain. I guess this is the place of Michael. So he's not dealing with this anymore. Again, I'm not saying that in Kyiv you should do it. I guess the price is credible in Kyiv. But the question was about the rural area, and what we see that function quite well. It's when the local community managed to reach the point they basically buy a place. And if possible, if they can buy it 3 or 4 of them, it's even better, because this is even more responsibility sharing. I don't know the low price Kiev and so on, but I just expect that this is a bit more expensive.
Yeah, thank you for an explanation about these rural spaces. It's all about connection. Also, it's true for the bigger cities. My next question was from our community, and people asked where we could find the leaders of future makerspaces. Maybe you have some vision or some stories where leaders, kind of community leaders. There is people in communities who want to support a new space. They understand the concept, but they don't know who could lead this because they have no time or they have no leadership skill like this.
Wow.
And
this I don't know. This I have no idea. You need to find a social person. I mean, a makerspace that works well, Axel, maybe you agree or not, but you need to have, and Leon also, the technical guy, the person which is in love with the machine, because the machine always got broken and you always need to fix them and so on. So let's say the technical person, but also the one which is not much into techniques, which understand a bit everything, but this is fine, but love the people, love to talk with them, love to be with them. So a makerspace that would say, as a big advantage is the one that has a good binom, you know, good binom or trinom, more or less. Yeah. So, I mean, what can I say? Most of the people that come to my makerspace, I opened 2 makerspace here in the different villages. They come here because I met them playing basketball with them, because I went to fish with them, because my colleague decided to go to petanque with them. Because someone went to the local market with them. So most of them attracted makers, active members of the community in our 2 makerspace here, because we met them outside. And we say, hey, come here, you'll see, it's cool. We have cool things to do, like just come for a coffee. I think 90% of them came not because we are a makerspace. They just came because because Andy is cool. I want to have a beer with Andy. Seems to be nice. We have some questions, we have discussions. We can challenge each other on different aspects. This is why I want to go there. And this is why people come to the makerspace. This is why they go to ZAM. ZAM, where Axel is, the makerspace of Axel, is probably one of the biggest community I ever seen before. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people come here. Why? Because this is just cool. They have plenty of LEDs. They do funny projects. And then partners come. And then fundings arrived. It's not easy every day, of course, but they have, I mean, I want to spend cool time there because they are cool.
Okay, guys, thank you for your time and for this opportunity to talk to you again and to learn from your experience. Maybe some more questions from our audience today. Please raise your hand and send your question to Vulca members.
Well, I'd like to make just a general comment. I think in this call, it was very useful to feel that there could be another time. And it would be great if we could keep in touch, because a lot will come out of communication. And Yuri, if there is anything I personally can do to continue this communication with Axel, Alex,
and Leon,
and others,
Leon,
and
Leon,
and help connect some of the maker spaces from Ukraine with the EU equivalent. It would be excellent. It would help us in Ukraine a lot. Thank you.
Дякую, Богдан. Богдана, будь ласка.
No, well, I just wanted to. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make some remarks about makerspace in Ukraine. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you know, maybe no, but if take it historically, so we have some kind of like official maker spaces. It used to be Soviet stations of young creators, something like this. And now we have such heritage, and it very stiff and has this mostly the same rules as it was, and it has financing from the state. But about talking about makerspace as it is in Europe and so on, so it is usually private, how to say, no. Well, it's private people who start in their own way, and sometimes it's even not connected with each other. And about rural spaces, as I said, if it takes about children, so you have to have approval from authorities, and if it's not your own garage or something, because when you gather with friends, you have to first get approval, but usually it is possible. Or then you have to start something like this educational no, as I said, station of this young creators or something like this. So it will not be the same as makerspace. That's what is the differences, as I think. If you understand what I said.
Yeah, thank you, Bogdan. So, who else want to maybe ask a question? To Alex, Axel,
I have a question. Can you maybe open up something simple between us where we can keep contact, like just I don't know which kind of communication tools we can have, or can you maybe come back to me after and propose me a group where we can invite someone that maybe understand Ukrainian. I personally don't understand, but we have some friends in the team that are trusty enough to join. So I don't know how we can approach this, but I see two options. Either you have a communication channel group where you speak in English, that's fine. Just invite us. I think Axel and I would be up to go for it because we are two explorers, maybe a bit less Leon because he's more into residency, up to him. Or if you have only, I don't know, Signal or whatever groups where you speak Ukrainian, you can give me the link and I can share it to one of the right person we have in the group that could basically stay along with you, reach informations, and you can reach also. So up to you.
Oh, we will do both. We had a chat with you and Inna before, so in WhatsApp, so we could continue there. Okay. With Axel, for example, and we could spread the messages for our audience at our Signal chat, and then of course add the person from Vulca team to our Ukrainian speaking chat.
Perfect. So if you can refresh this chat, please?
Yeah, then of course. Okay.
I send you my LinkedIn. Axel, Leon, I invite you to share your LinkedIn, please, guys. Andy, I just found you on LinkedIn. I just try to connect with you. I guess this is you that I found. Let's share some contact that way. And then same with Vulca. We have the same name on LinkedIn. You can also kind of follow us here. And we are more or less behind this page, few of us. So you can also easily reach us there. We are a bit allergic to email, to be honest.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, email is cool to keep archive on cooperation, but just for small talk, just get an easy answer. If we have, of course, just go for a LinkedIn message or WhatsApp. It's fine too.
Okay, great.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for this invitation. Yeah, okay, and thank you all for this cool, interesting evening. I have a lot of ideas to do. Thank you for an inspiration.
Yeah, hope to meet you guys in November.
You can do it together with us, so you don't have to do everything like Alex was suggesting.
Sure, yeah, and Anna, happy to see you here in this chat. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Okay, next step, guys. It's the communication tools. Second step is to manage at least one Ukrainian going in Europe to bridge better the country. Yeah. Last step is at least some of you guys come to Germany and we can manage, I don't know, the visa or whatever, how it works. This is not my regular works, but you will tell us what you need. But to try to find at least one representative person of the future associations or the ongoing associations of Ukraine, at least to be here and discuss with the Spanish, the Portuguese, the French and German and so on, right? November in Germany.
November, okay, it will be great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect if you don't need a visa. I don't know, I'm sorry. I will learn with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for this meeting today, and have a nice evening. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Axel. Thank you, Leon, for coming. Bye, guys. See you.
Thank you. Bye.